Practice exercise 3, time, speed, distance. 13. Working alone, A and B can do a piece of work in 45 and 40 days respectively. They begin working together, but A leaves after some days and B completes the rest of the work in 23 days. For how many days did A work? Such questions are best or this kind of questions are best solved by assuming an amount of work. A finishes the piece of work in 45 days. B can finish the same piece of work in 40 days. So assume the amount of work to be LCM of 45 and 40. We do it so that we don't get bogged down by calculation of fractions. Otherwise, there is a very big chance you will end up with fractions. LCM of 45 and 40 is 360. So let us assume the amount of work is 360 units. A finishes the work in 45 days. So he does 8 units of work per day. So A does 8 units per day. Similarly, B finishes the work in 40 days. Total work is 360 units. So B will do 9 units per day. A leaves after some days and B completes the remaining work in 23 days. So the total amount of work is 360 units. How much work did B do alone? B worked for 23 days and did 9 units per day. So the amount of work done by B alone was 23 into 9, which is 207 units. So 23 into 9 is 207 units. Or which means 360 minus 207, which is 153 units of work was done by A plus B together. Okay. So before A left, they did some amount of work together, and when they were working together, they were doing A plus B, which means 9 plus 8, 17 units of work per day. So A plus B together were doing 17 units of work per day, and the amount of work done by them was 153 units. So the time taken by A plus B together to complete these 153 units of work would be 153 by 17, which is equal to 9. So A and B worked for 9 days together, and those are the only days for which A worked. So how many days did A work? A worked for 9 days. Please remember, this kind of question is always useful. Why? Most of the questions in time and work, you are always better off assuming an amount of work. And in this case, we assume the amount of work to be LCM of 45 and 40. Had you assumed the amount of work, let's say, to be 100 units, that means the speed of A would have been 100 upon 40, which is 2.5 units per day. And speed of B would have been 100 upon 45, which is 2.22 recurring units per day, which would have made your life difficult. Which is why we always choose an amount of work which is LCM of the number of days mentioned. Hence 360 units. This eliminates the requirement, or this eliminates all kinds of fractions, and calculations become much more easier.